Welcome to this edition of Talk with Taz Live. Have you ever felt anxious, not sure of which direction to take, what move to make next? It's a normal feeling, anxiousness. Sometimes it gets a bad rap because people want to believe that they're always strong, they have everything going on, they never unsure about what to do next. But it is a normal part of life. Do you just sit sometimes and find yourself losing track of time? If you do, when we're doing that, we're thinking. We're exercising our mind, which is a very powerful tool. Our mind is a very powerful tool. Our mind absorbs information, then it turns it into usable knowledge that we then use to act. It drives our behavior. To transform information into knowledge requires analysis. Analysis, yes. This process is unique for each of us, though, because it includes our awareness, our imagination, our views, thoughts on a subject, language, our experiences, and even the emotional attachment that we place on that knowledge. When we find ourselves sitting in thought and losing track of time, that's what's occurring. We're going through the analysis. We're thinking and trying to determine what we should do. As our mind continues to process this information, we have to think of it from four perspectives. Sometimes it's a single-minded focus. Other times, it's more submissive. Perhaps it's a spiritual focus. And then sometimes we're just secure in what we're thinking. The single-minded focus lets us remain hopeful despite what we see around us, despite our circumstances. We're able to remain hopeful because of the single-minded focus. With a submissive mind, we remain hopeful regardless of what others are saying or what others are doing. The people in our lives, the people we encounter from day to day. When we have the submissive mind, we're able to encounter those individuals, interact with those individuals, but still remain hopeful. Whereas the spiritual mind looks into our circumstances with the what would Jesus do perspective, understanding that we make decisions not for earthly gain, but for heavenly gain. So in other words, we're not making decisions based upon what we're going to receive in return. So the spiritual mind allows us to make the appropriate decision regardless of what the consequences are going to be. And think about it. That's really kind of, how do I want to phrase it? That really stretches us because sometimes it's hard for us to deny ourselves and make decisions without considering how does it impact us. But remember, Christ was the best example of that. He came into this world, sacrificed himself so that we could have life and have life here and certainly have life in heaven. When we adopt the secure mind, though, we can control our anxiousness. These occur through the right prayer, the right thinking, and the right living. So the secure mind is sitting on three pillars: the right prayer, the right thinking, and the right living. Right prayer requires us to see and understand God's greatness and his majesticness, honestly sharing our problems and needs, and giving thanks to him for what he's already done and what he's going to do. Even though we're not able to see that, we give thanks to him because we understand that he is God and he is God alone. Right thinking leads to right feelings, which keep the heart and mind aligned and focused on good. Although we cannot see our thoughts, they are real and they are very, very powerful. So it's important for us to employ right thinking. Right living, those are our external actions, and they're based on our internal thoughts and our attitudes. So that's the reason why when we talk about remaining secure, we've got to have the right prayer. We've got to be vulnerable with God. Not just going to Him asking for something all the time, but be willing to be vulnerable. Also, that right thinking, meaning that our heart and our mind have to align. And if you're honest, because I have to be honest, sometimes they just don't align. But I have to pull myself back and say, you're not thinking correctly. Also, the right living, because that does drive our behavior. And the right living, again, is based on our internal thoughts and our attitudes. To activate today's teachings, it's not enough to understand the facts in our mind. We must also take those facts that are in our mind, the knowledge that we learn, that we gain, we got to deposit it in our hearts. Because so is a man thinking in his heart, so is he. So right prayer, right thinking, and right living are the tools that we need to activate to secure our mind, to make sure that we have a secure mind that helps us to prevent our anxiety from overtaking us. You know, as we say, and we know this because we're watching the media and we're looking at things on social media, the regular news stations, the radio stations are old. And I say old because lots of people don't read print news anymore. But we know that we're being bombarded every day, all day long, with what's going on in our world, what's going on in our personal lives, our professional lives. It is very easy to lose sight as we sit and absorb that information and then try to make sense of it, using our own awareness, using our own feelings, our past experiences, our views, trying to make sense of all the information that we're gaining. As we try to analyze that, our feelings do get attached. It brings up old feelings that sometimes we thought we had taken care of those feelings, but they're attached still. And sometimes as we go through those ups and downs and twists and turns, we become anxious. That's a part of life, but you don't have to remain in that anxious state. Consider the secure mind, the right prayer, right thinking, and the right doing. Those tools can make all the difference in what you're dealing with, what you will deal with, what you're going to deal with again, because it's a part of life. We're up one moment, we're down the next. But the thing is, don't stay down and realize when you're up because you're doing the right thing. You've taken on a perspective that has lasted from the beginning of time, and it will last because it is time. When you take on the perspective of God, of Christ, you can withstand anything that the world throws at you or that you throw at yourself. Because remember, our thoughts, although we don't see them, they are very powerful. And they have the ability, if we allow them, to make us feel good from moment to moment or to make us feel down from moment to moment. So remember, secure your mind. I think the I'm dating myself now. I can't remember which branch of the military it is. I almost want to say it's the Army, but maybe it's not. But there used to be the commercial when I was a little girl that said the mind is a terrible thing to waste. Maybe it's not even military, but that's it. Still, a mind is a terrible thing to waste because the mind is very powerful. So secure your mind this day. This has been Talk with Taz Live. Remember, as always, make sure you take care of you so you can take care of someone else. Bye now.